expect coming in from Charlotte Phoenix. Expect to see some homework, and you can already see some of that right off the bat. Anger is lining up a long-range molly. Interested to see where that one lands. I believe it's Heaven.
Yeah, let's predict where it's going to land, but we pretty much know exactly where Charlotte are going to take this engagement. Is going to be on the B site, and the Brimstone Molly is going to lead the line. Cutler is actually going to meet on the ground, similar to where we saw his placement last time. The Paranoia is going to be good, but the wall is in the way to stop any damage going in. Saw this positioning similarly on the Echo 8 battle, but it's hazed from distance on the High Heavens, getting some damage in, but could only do so much. Of course, UI is lying to us. Nobody is a Phantom just yet. It's all on pistols. Right now, the man advantage goes to Charlotte Phoenix. There's a lot of pressure put onto them, a lot of utility thrown in, but they still lead the line and get the first round.
I think that's my favorite bug currently with the Observer UI. In pistol round, the first round, everyone on the X-Ray is Swayed, which is one of the developers for Riot, actually came out on a Reddit thread and said, by the way, that's me. It's a bug, something that reverts to the early stages of game development. When we break something, that's what happens. I think it's actually quite funny, but it only happens in the pistol. It's fixed after that. Solid take. Interesting molly, as Anger actually goes for a molly that lands kind of on default. So if you had like a Cypher playing that position using a camera and tripwires, you would flush him out of that position. But it also kind of hindered their take a little bit as they weren't able to get that spike planted right away. Long-range Cypher cage coming out. Terms is going to be right around the corner, trying to take down drone. Sabrosa has done what Wardell did in the pistol, but they might be able to snuff this one out. As you can see, there's two players kind of expecting this Brim play. Sabrosa with just a shorty. If they peek this one with enough range, should be able to take him down.
I think they have an inkling that he might be there too. So we're seeing Charlotte being a bit more aware of their surroundings. I mean, we did see Wardell do some pretty awesome stuff, but granted that was with a different weapon. Now, they don't check him. Sabrosa dunks one, but is going to get traded. There's no way he could get more in there, but does this roll, puts a bit more pressure onto mid, which is something now the TSM are looking towards, trying to get some kills in, but Wardell can't quite land those shots. Twitch chat saying he don't miss. Sometimes he does, but he's still alive and still able to get some pressure onto the attackers of Charlotte Phoenix. That's a nice double peek, though, that does get the pick onto drone, and it's a nice, neat 2 versus 2. Tomb Solid mid are expected it's going to be on the B site, but there's a nice little switcheroo as A is going to get hit.
Shots running on over towards that A site. Gonna have to deal with Wardell, who's moving into position rapidly. The slow orb is off the mark, but it works out anyway. Lands on the balcony, just doesn't go quite as deep. And you can see the Jet already making their way out. Oh, and it's a wrong guess coming in from the stage. So now you're gonna have shots going the wrong direction. Goes for the heal, gets beaten out by Wardell, and now the spike's gonna be tapped. You've got one playing in from Heaven, able to delay this for long enough to try and guarantee the defuse, and it's going to finish just in the nick of time with just pistols. It's TSM who best their opposition after the promising start, picking up the pistol round. They fall and they succumb to mostly classic damage that was dealt in mid and then towards the A side at the end.
Yeah, TSM were just really irritating there, even going all the way back to that Sabrosa frag with the shorty. It all adds up. There's a butterfly effect to this kind of thing. That's going to be pretty devastating to Charlotte's economy. Phoenix is going to be relatively tamed, at least for the round upcoming. There's going to be some nice guns on the side of TSM on this defense. But I like the positioning that Charlotte Phoenix is running on this attack. They're very much splitting all across the map, fingers in multiple pies. But when you're playing like this, it means that you don't quite have the reinforcements to trade engagements. So I think a lot of these battles are going to be won and lost on mid-block, because you can see the TSM really want to keep control of that, and whoever has control of mid has control of split.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of follow Counter-Strike-esque meta. Mid control is the name of the game. Hayes going up on top of his own wall, using some verticality. And from the top rope, the attack does not work out so well for Hayes. You've got the repeat coming in for Sabrosa, who also gets dinked by the Jet, so great damage coming out early on here. And the Sage is down, so there's no heal. The Owl drone spots out the Brim in the back of sight. And Sabrosa is going to try and stick back behind the default box in sight. They're going to need some help pretty quickly here, as it's just him and Cutler. Sabrosa has to be careful, goes for the wide swing, trying to double peek with Cutler. The gun, though, heavier in the hands of Sabrosa than it is for Cutler. The port across is a bold move that allows him to get into a better position. Here comes the wide swing from Heaven. The SMG is not prepared for that. So it's now a 2-on-2, an impressive rebound coming in from Charlotte Phoenix, who are more of an unknown variable. Wardell spots one back behind the boxes, and as great as Anger's CS career may have been at times, not much can be done about that. It's down to shots. 1-on-2 with the SMG. Great damage dealt right off the bat. Has the wall available, and the res. Shots able to gun down one. It's now down to a 1-on-1, but Wardell's anticipating this play coming in from the front side. Starts to go back around the other way, and Shots picks up the clutch. That's an impressive round win coming in from the likes of Charlotte Phoenix.
I thought Shots was going to muck it up there. He was trying to spray through the box and missed all of the shots in. But that collateral was close to get those frags. Just did enough. And that's really how Charlotte Phoenix is going to win these games. I think is just take it down to the wire, keep patience, play the objective. And you know it's bad when Wardell's forced to play to plant or defuse the spike. He's not just allowed to orbit around the site to frag out like crazy. Forcing TSM to do stuff like that is going to give them advantage in these fights. So both teams trading around so far. I think we've got a game on our hands. Spirit opens up nicely with 2 frags. B-site is open for business.
You know, we talked about Rob Wiz in that Code 7 game and his experience in multiple games going back quite an era. What you don't know is that one of his teammates during the CSGO era was Shots, playing on an old roster with him and Flom, the old Noble Esports roster, along with Emong, who's another multi-game all-star. Wardell picking off one up in heaven, has to back off as the wall comes through. Nope. Pops the ult, wants to go over top of it, might even just bait it out, but the knives are flaying the opposition. It's down to a 2-on-2. Drone's going to go for the self-heal with the hot hands flame wall going up as well. Pops the ult. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's unfortunate. The timing does not work out so well here. And again, Wardell still has the op and the ult. Goes for a few more tosses of the blade. Doesn't work out so well, but they're going to be running right into Wardell, who's going to be waiting for him here as they try to cross towards site. First shot's on the money, but it's a wall bang. Nice shock dart coming out as well onto Wardell to put him down onto just 35 hit points. Churm's in sight. Here's the dash coming out from Wardell. Tripwire's down. Goes for the safe plant, though, on the opposite side of the double box there. And the spike will be planted. It's going to be a 2-on-1 retake.
Oh, but Spirit is there to clutch it. Was the first person to get first blood. Does nice 2 kills and ends up the round just as he started it. He is a Reaper main, I remember. He was one of the players in NA Contenders that liked to pick up a relatively non-meta hero within Overwatch. And right now he seems to be trying to find all the plays around Silver, and it worked out quite nicely, and obviously has the aim to boot. It was such a good raid from Wardell to spot that rotation in, but there was only so much he could do. His ultimate was expired, he used it all up, he missed all of the shots with the blades, and at that close proximity with an operator, it's tricky. It's a rock and a hard place that you're stuck between. And it's a nice little opening for Charlotte to take a bit of a lead, similar to how we saw it with Immortals and Code 7, right? So maybe history will start to repeat itself there if Charlotte on the attack can get the map advantage, and they're already starting off greatly with that first frag. Second one lines up nicely too.
So Broza actually going to go down the Spirit through the wall as the dart gave away his position. This round, obviously not much being brought into it by TSM. They're going to try and go out and maybe find themselves a gun. There's the dink shot coming out from Anger. A follow-up kill coming in from Drone towards the tail end means 2 will fall. But it's a 4th round now on the very decided split. I mean, this is already a better first half than we saw from Echo 8, and then some. I mean, this is actually a pretty solid first half coming in from Charlotte Phoenix. One of those things that we see when we come into series like this, you expect to see teams like Charlotte Phoenix do lots of homework. And TSM expects to win, even if they don't. So the thing is, you always have that possibility for an underdog upset depending on how much work was done by Charlotte Phoenix on this map. And it seems like they've done quite a bit, but at the same point in time, this could be a turning point for TSM.
Part of me sort of wonders, like, not so much how seriously TSM is taking it, but kind of like the hiding strategies, those kind of areas that we can maybe see them just taking their foot off the gas a little bit. Both teams have qualified. It really is just a case of who's going to be first and second place coming out of their groups. So really, they don't need to shove too many strategies that they could use going into the playoffs, right? So they can take this relatively easily, but you've got to say still, Charlotte Phoenix are coming out clutching right now. Drone is putting a lot of pressure behind the screens, and there's 2 good flashes. His spray transfer, not that great, but he's able to get the frags anyway. Can't get the 4th onto the jet. And Spirit's lurking, actually, with the Operator, and the Resurrect is going to be forced up onto Heaven. The spike hasn't been planted. It's in no man's land currently, so this is really awkward now for Charlotte that want to try and get this spike planted. This mob at Spirit, what's he going to do? They're not expecting him to be here. Gets one. Can he get more? Unfortunately not. The Jet is able to do as much as possible. Unfortunately not enough. TSM put themselves back on the board after losing a few rounds. It was a little bit difficult for Charlotte to push on ahead there.
I mean, that looked a little scary, though. You know, you had Drone in the sight. First flash doesn't necessarily work out so well for him as the Jet dashes past. Second flash is right on the money. Actually, transfers off the initial target a little too soon, thinking that he already killed him. So starts to switch his aim towards the player Heaven, has to come back and finish him off. But the flash was so good, it lasts long enough that both players are blinded for far too long for them to do anything. But does run dry on the mag, has to switch to the sidearm. Doesn't matter. At that point, the damage was dealt. So great play coming in from Drone, who's playing on the Phoenix. He favored the Sova during the beta stages, but has switched over to the Phoenix. Here comes the push potentially towards the B site. Drone to lead the way. Hazed right around the corner, only able to get one, so now they're going to rely on the Omen. The Paranoia is right on the money, so the Jet will fall as Jet on Jet violence. Wardell currently up in Heaven, laying down some smokes to give some cover. And it looks like they're going to be backing off of B main and licking the wounds, trying to find another opening.
Yeah, they're forced to. They do have an orbital strike which could open up a site on mid, but look at Drone. He's just been proactive. He's not waiting around for anything to happen. He knows that there's going to be stuff going on mid. Puts up the blaze and changes up his position into somewhere that Charlotte aren't necessarily expecting this Phoenix to be, at least. There's a nice little crossfire with Cutler, and they're able to spot it out. I don't think they're expecting him around this corner. They certainly weren't expecting that flash. It's a good one. Drone gets a couple. It's just going to be the Silver left alive. It's just going to be Spirit. Gets caught out by Cutler. And now TSM are starting to warm up to this a little bit more. Charlotte Phoenix lose 2 on the bounce.
Taylor yet again with the dirty play as the Phoenix, those flashes just right where they need to be. The curveball pops out and everyone is just staring at the surface of the sun. So 4 rounds currently for the likes of Charlotte Phoenix, but TSM is bringing it back. This round should be a little bit rough. You see them all grouping up currently, likely to be heading over towards this A site, and you can see the money is not ideal, so a few players spending up what they can afford, so they'll still be able to buy in the next. They're going to be rocking Guardians. There's the nice shot coming out from Terms as the Guardian. Again, Drone with just a dirty flash coming out, and even though he goes through blind, the Jet's still able to convert on the ult as the blades seem to work out nicely. The ult pop towards the site really used more for intel than anything. The spike, though, going to be planted. This is a great take coming in. They do lose one as the retake is already underway. Wardell there with the Operator, spots Anger trying to get back towards ramp. But they've set up pretty decent post plants. One towards elbow, one in sight, and one underneath balcony. The blades flying towards that ramp area. There's the Paranoia coming out to blind one. No, it's actually a dart cover. Wardell hits one even though he's inside the tripwire with those knives, and it all falls down onto the Jet on site. And Wardell gets vertical. It just floats through the air. That's 3 on the round for Wardell, 2 with the ult. Great round coming in from TSM.
It was like the Michael Jordan slam dunk at the end of Space Jam. It was just stretches out, dunks him down.
The boomer reference.
Toon Squad wins. Team Doom Squad? No, it doesn't quite work. But regardless, the scores are now even. There was a brief period that Charlotte Phoenix was looking like the dominant team, but TSM just warming up to this map. It is awkward, like we mentioned, ironically, on all of the split maps that we've seen today, that it's not typically a map that you see that often, and because it's a case of Team A bans one map, Team B bans another, the last 2 maps left to choose from are randomized, so it's kind of funny that we've had split on all 3 of those games, but typically you just see teams ban out split and not play it, right? Typically is Bind, Haven, and Descent, but all of these teams need to be prepared on a map like this, and it's nice to see that both TSM and Charlotte look relatively well-versed, but we're not done yet. There's a few ultimates available on this attack, but the way that TSM have been nipping this in the bud by getting a few of these early frags has been the reason why they're coming out on top in the last few rounds that we've seen.
Listen, I'm being mocked by chat for calling that a boomer reference. $5 to the first person who tells me what the name of the planet was that the aliens were from. No Googling. Tied at 4 apiece. Currently, the Drone again leading in towards the B site. Trying to spot one out. Doesn't quite catch him. You've got Drone on Heaven, who's been so deadly with the curveballs. First one to get it. More on Mountain is correct.
More on Mountain.
There's the Jet picking things off early. It's Wardell who is going to be watching as well. Nice kill coming out from Drone. The ult gets popped. Going to make it quite difficult to move into a position of power as the orbital strike is right there anyway. Sabrosa gets the trade out onto Terms. As the ult gave away the position, the neural theft didn't really seem to help at all. It's going to be a 3-on-3 as the spike goes down on the A site. And you can see the retake already underway as they're already in position, but what they don't anticipate is this lurk potentially from Spirit. But Cutler seems to know it's coming. They know that the Sova is on the backside based on what happened early on. Cutler's moving out. What? Not really sure what that was. An interesting bug to say the least, but it's down to 2-on-1, and as he goes high off the wall, Cutler catches him as he drops down inside the dark cover. Cutler with just 11 HP survives the round, wins the 5th for TSM.
I don't know what possessed his screen or possessed him right then to get the triple kill, but it worked out neatly and nicely for a player who we haven't been harping on about too much. We've sort of spoken about the three-headed dragon that's on this team with Sabrosa, Wardell, and of course, I've got Sabrosa written down twice for some reason. Drone, of course, on the Phoenix. It feels like there's two Sabrosas in the server a lot of the time, but I think Charlotte now have caught up to what TSM can do, and they haven't won around in quite a few right now, and really don't look that comfortable either. It seems to be the TSM are now in showboat mode, and Drone again is just going to run right at them. Of course, with the run it back, he's allowed to do that. Still has all of his utility, using the hot hands to buy himself a bit of space, stacking buff the Molotovs up, but how he's been placing these curveball flashes has been sublime. But Anger just walks on through, gets nutted by Wardell.
It was a little bit of a peekaboo play, and just didn't work out so well there for Anger. Hazed puts the wall down, has Wardell backing him up. They're on the other side. They're going to go for the pop-up wall. As they go for it, it doesn't work out so well initially, as Hazed is here to gun down all three. Sure, they lose the operator as Wardell comes in with a rare miss, the double wall in mid. You've all seen the meme, but it doesn't work out so well here for the likes of Charlotte Phoenix. Still, even if TSM closed this one out, 4 rounds isn't too shabby on the attacking side, so I got to give credit where credit's due. You would hope to see them put up at least one more with the way that they started, but it's been all TSM ever since.
I got to be clear, this is one of those like bad translations from Europe. Like when I said nutted, it's more like headbutted, but I think it means something else over in NA, judging by what Twitch chat is saying. So I'll bear that in mind. There's no nutting going on here, just a dome shot in the head from Wardell that's set up quite nicely and has a relatively quiet game so far, but is expected to showboat a little bit more by pushing up super aggressively. Drone, just at the last second, decides to pull out the knife, but Wardell is going to help him out. Not quite a headshot this time, but puts up another bit of pressure. KZ now having to move a little bit, just dashes right into it, but Sabrosa doesn't even get the kill with the orbital strike. He just gets the spraying in the right spot. And yet another round that's looking pretty bad for Charlotte. And Cutler's doing even more damage.
Oh, that paranoia is just so powerful. It keeps that Sage at bay. There's the res coming in as well from Hazed. They're going to go up on top of the wall. You've got Anger in mid, and the veteran player not able to do much, as it's now 7 for TSM. You know, people mentioned it at times talking about TSM, it's the Wardell show. It's all about Wardell. Well, here's the thing. Wardell might get the flashiest kills, might be the top performer at times, but it's not because the others can't. It's because he just gets there first. I feel like a lot of times Wardell ends up with such crazy scorelines because he's taking those aggressive plays with the op. Here we're seeing Drone kind of leading that initiator role, getting aggressive towards A main, using that curveball very aggressively, running it back in towards B main as well, trying to take the battle to their doorstep, and that's why Drone's having such a stellar first half here for the likes of TSM. All of these players can do that at any given point in time. It's just that Wardell gets there first. That's all that it is.
He's the tip of the spear.
Exactly.
And he usually gets a lot of the commotion. Quite rightly, it is great to hear a play that you don't know about from the scene beforehand and then come up to be such an important aspect of it. And yet again, here we are, TSM. Everybody's getting involved. Everybody's getting a frag. This is a super nice pick from TSM to come out and clean house. Now it's just Spirit. They don't even need to see him. They just know that he's roughly going to be there. Absolutely flawless. Describes how TSM have been playing in the last count 7 rounds in a row that they've won out. I was expecting this to be close, but TSM are just like, nope. That ain't gonna happen. We're in control of this one yet again.
Can we get some pogs in chat too? Because we have a scoreboard that shows all 10 players. Like, we've had that bug now on the first 2 games. Hopefully I didn't just jinx it and it's not going to disappear here. But we can see the scoreboard coming into the second half. Yes, beautiful thing. You know, we were talking about these star performers. We're talking about Wardell. We're talking about Drone. At times, we're mentioning Sabrosa as well. Hazed and Cutler are silently performing quite well, locking down that B site with a somewhat peculiar layout as well, using the Omen as the B anchor with some support coming in from Hazed. Occasionally, Drone floats over, but they've done really well. They actually made it really difficult to get onto B, and a large part of that was just good timing from Cutler to avoid the Al Drone and use the paranoia nicely. As they switch over now to attack, this is a play you'll see a lot in public servers. It's the shorty on the Jet. They can use that dash to get aggressive. It only nets 1 kill coming in from Wardell, but it's on the Jet, and it's one of those kills you're like, oh, come on, seriously?
I'd be molding, and I don't have much more hair to lose to mold off, so it was a good start. The spike has been planted on the B site, and right now Phoenix just have to try and work out exactly how to approach this. They're now trying to go towards CT. Sabrosa's there waiting. They decided that is a bad idea to run into that cracked Brimstone, who is forced a little bit away, but has just backed up from the pressure, holding another angle. These are pixel-perfect angles that he's still getting his headshots in for. This guy's been practicing his aim training, dabs one out with the spray. And TSM, man, what are they feeding you over there?
They all ate their Wheaties this morning.
Their weenies.
Wheaties? Weenies? What?
It's 1:30 here, okay? That's my excuse. It's very late here, and I think I'm losing my mind watching these guys play Valorant this way.
I don't know what you guys eat over there, but we usually don't eat that for breakfast. We definitely go with Wheaties, the cereal for champions. They're going to be heading over towards this A site, and it's going to be just a full-blown 5-man execute. You've got Anger with the Ghost up on ramp. Anger falls pretty quickly. Spirit's inside that dark cover as well. Takes a little bit of scratching damage through it. Tries to go for the peek. Cutler's there with the punish from the Bulldog. You can hear him stomping around towards the ropes. Yikes, man. That is such a fast headshot coming out from Drone. It was a jiggle peek coming in from KZ on the ropes. It doesn't matter. Drone's just too quick with the shot.
It's like watching the Harlem Globetrotters, really, isn't it? When they play like this, it's just, you know that the Charlotte can't keep up, but you just love to watch this kind of punishment that these guys are putting through. Okay, maybe Wardell not so much there, but it doesn't matter too much. It's just going to be shots left alive and completely surrounded. The spike has been planted. You would expect this to be 10-4 shots with the Marshall. Tries to fight Drone up close, who just dives on him in the pit. And I feel like they've just sort of warmed up. This is the last game of the day. Their playoff games are going to be starting up tomorrow. After this one, we'll be going to Group C and D for the rest of the matches. Of today, at least. So we're not going to be seeing any more of TSM, at least now. But I don't think we need to. I think everybody can go to bed happy after watching this absolute style of a game.
Yeah, and this will be the last game on broadcast as well for us, as we'll be tossing things over to Simo and Vansili. If you think that I'm a boomer, just wait. Vansili's coming. My man's been casting since before some of you were even born, which is kind of wild. He's been around this esports scene for a long, long time, going back to the early 2000s, before esports was even a word. It was competitive gaming back then, and part of me wishes it still was. Here they go, moving in towards heaven early on. You've got Drone with the Spectre. There's one right around the corner. Actually make it 2. The Jet has arrived with a little bit of backup support. An interesting wall coming out from the Sage, not one you'll see too often. Anger able to win that fight against Cutler. Hazed taking down Spirit. There's the duel going the way of shots towards Drone. So it will be a 3-on-4 numbers advantage here for Charlotte Phoenix.
And I guess better still, TSM are separated up. They aren't able to go in unison. They're anchored all across the map, mostly towards mid, but they are going to make their way up to A. Sabrosa, though, can't get past KZ. Wardell having the operator, granted not the usual red one that he has been using. Maybe he changed it up in between games. I have no idea. I don't think so, but he's a last alive. He's just going to save up this gun if he can survive for the next 35 seconds. But I don't think Charlotte are really going to give chase. Just let Wardell survive. Don't give him any more frags. Don't feed this monster any more than he's already been fed. It does mean that Charlotte win their first round in, what, 10 rounds or something ridiculous like that? It's been very much TSM the last 10 to 15 minutes.
Wardell with a nice shot,
going for
and
it.
a good move actually as well, getting onto the site, getting the spike plant. Could it be a round coming in here? They try to get there fast. Wardell still has time on the cloudburst, so able to survive just a little while longer. Throws down 2 smokes, wants to play around them, no surprise there. Jumps right into the tripwire, can't find it because of the smoke. There's one inside the smoke with him. What on earth is happening? A peculiar round with a deep tripwire towards the B site. Doesn't work out so well there for Wardell as a 5-head play. And it's a 5th round on the board here for Charlotte Phoenix.
He still kept his composure. If that was me, I mean, you heard it. I literally screamed because I can imagine being in that situation. It was a nice try to say the least. This is kind of what I mean, though, because this game is just seeding. Maybe Wardell, if this was like the grand final, he wouldn't do that, but he had an opening and he took it, and man, if he won that round, we would be looking at one of the most ridiculous plays ever. But we're going to have to hold off for that. But it just goes to show that TSM can make something out of nothing, most especially Wardell, who by all accounts has had a relatively tame game considering Sub Rosa's out-fragging him. But ooh, those Bladestorm like knives almost got the headshot in, but could only do so much. Doesn't matter though, gets the kill onto Anger. There's just no stopping this man.
Wardell able to upgrade with a rifle there after taking down one. Went for the early aggressive play. That's the Sage falling. That's a huge blow here as they've already got a huge advantage, but now they've lost that heal potential and that support, the wall, the slow orb, everything that you associate with a Sage player. Sabrosa right around the corner has to deal with KZ, who's currently going up on top of the box with an operator inside the ropes. But KZ playing this one slow, now starts to hear the footsteps, might start to move over. Oh, Sabrosa just narrowly catches him. Here comes the ult. Can't get out of that one. Gonna try. Oh, he actually does. So he goes up the ropes, saves the dash for the other side. Well played there from KZ. There's still a Cypher on this B site playing in hell as they start to work their way through. Wardell with the rifle, not as capable as he is with the operator, but it doesn't matter. The trade is in. And it's going to be a 2-on-4 retake. You've got KZ positioned towards spawn, 43 HP as the molly lands directly under his feet.
Has to back off. Spirit just hiding in the smoke on Heaven, trying to stand on the box to get a better clear view, but the way that TSM are positioned now is relatively tame, relatively safe. Spirit doesn't realize that there's somebody right below him. He's going to check it though, but Drone still wins that engagement. That's a nice flick from KZ out of the smoke, but still has more to do. Right now you can see TSM are taking it super patiently. Sabrosa is right above him and just gets the kill anyway. 11-5 now. And TSM lost the last round of taking it right back and just always look good doing it. They have to run it back to use aggressively for Drone, but the ultimates are more on Charlotte's side now. The Bladestorm is available for KZ, who could have done so much there, did quite a lot regardless anyway. And then, of course, the Orbital Strike for Anger. Important round for Charlotte Phoenix if they want to keep in this, because right now TSM isn't really making all that many mistakes, and even if they do, they're not getting punished for it.
Sabrosa laying down some smokes in mid. There's counter smokes coming out from the brim on the opposite side. KZ goes for the pop on the Bladestorm. Doesn't even have time. Wardell's just too quick. He don't miss. Wardell starting to back off as Drone now pops to run it back in towards the B site. 11 rounds currently on the board, looking to secure their 12th. As you can see, there's 2 players currently up in Heaven, but they can't do much. The smoke down backside makes them think that maybe someone could be here. That was actually their smoke, getting them access to the site. Churm's trying to sneak out from Heaven, eventually ekes past the slow orb that was down. Flame Wall coming in, Cyber Cage to go down. That's not really going to scare Drone at all as the flash comes through. And Churm's is looking around wondering what happened. He's staring at the sun yet again. It's going to be now just one remaining. It's the Brim with an ult available. And it's Wardell who's currently in position to potentially lose that off. But no, just too quick. That's 3 on the round. Hits the quick flick as he goes for the dash away. 12 rounds now for TSM.
The angle was so awkward, I just wasn't expecting him to be able to like nail that shot, but had a good idea there. Yeah, the flashes that came in on Charlotte there as they were trying to push onto the site, it was like they were going to wake up in Skyrim. It was just so long that they were flashed for. They weren't quite sure if they were still alive, whether they had died, but it is match point. Team solo mids, they win this, they top their group, they have the better seeding going into the playoffs, but Charlotte Phoenix aren't going to be too upset. They've qualified for the playoffs that will be starting up tomorrow. Really, topping their group may have not been their aim, I suppose, but they're giving Sabrosa and the rest of TSM a good show, but Sabrosa getting the first frag. It's a good start off, even with Spirit dedicating Hunter's Fury getting in a little bit of damage. Not all that much, to be fair, nothing to really scare TSM with. Doesn't quite get the trade in, and Anger loses the operator in a really awkward spot. And Drone has just been punishing these positions time and time again.
Drone right around the corner. There's one. Shots just gets absolutely deleted. A masterclass in peeking right now coming out from Drone. Wardell, quick shot coming out, dashes back into the ice wall, gets a concussion from the hit, but it doesn't matter. It's down to one. It's Spirit. Doesn't even get to shoulder up the operator. 13-5 after an impressive